So, how's it going, everybody? I am attorney Michael Ehline, and as you guys know, I'm an attorney licensed in California and Texas. I'm hoping that somebody can tell me in the chat box if my volume and sound is okay. I'm trying a new system out called Restream, and I was using StreamYard. I was using StreamYard, and I just want to make sure I've got good sound. Hey, what's going on, Jody? What do you think about the sound? Does it sound a little better than yesterday? I set it up with stereophonic this time. So let me see. Hey, what's up, 100%? Hey, we're going to have a great show tonight. So, tonight we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to be doing the woke hood lawyer reaction videos, and we're just going to kind of poke fun at how race relations has been at an all time low since Barack Obama was president and did his damnedest to divide us by race and gender and all that stuff, and how it's caused so many problems with America. Very nice, very nice. So I'm hoping we'll have a good time. What's going on, Let's OTVO? Good seeing you, brother. So we're going to poke fun at it because most people on my show know that I look at people based upon their character, and that's it. If you're a scumbag, you're a scumbag. I don't care if you're a Martian. So we're going to have a good time tonight, and I'm going to give you the lawyer reactions to the hood and woke craziness that's been going on, and all the excuse making, the professional victimhood, the government funded permanent welfare class that lives off of your tax dollars in exchange for votes for certain politicians. And we're gonna have some fun with it today. Hey, what's going on? Life under the microscope. Hey do, hey do, hey now, hey now. So hopefully we'll have a good time. And my goal here is I've taken my top shorts, not the ones that I wear, but the ones that I put on YouTube, the ones that have like millions of views, and we're going to break down the ones that are the best ones based upon the comments. So a lot of you guys know that I do shorts, and then I'll do like lawyer questions, and I'll ask people questions. What do you want to know about this? Is this a crime? Do you think it's a crime? Let me know what you think. And then what I'm going to start doing is at the end of the month, I'm going to do these hood lawyer woke reaction. I'll do a live where I break down the main questions that people have asked. And most of my viewers know, my paid members anyways, my paid subscribers know that I answer questions of my audience. So if they want to ask me a question, they'll through the back channel as the private subscribers, they'll ask me questions and I'll try to answer them when I do live shows. And so today I'm trying a new program called Restream, and I have on here, I have ask questions in the chat, and so you can ask me questions and I'll try and answer them. Anybody who throws me a super chat, obviously, or a super sticker, you go to the front of the line. Okay, that's how we do it. And that is, well, the thing is, it's a little bit different than what you guys are used to looking at, but hopefully you like it better, because now instead of having that tiny little screen down there of my face on StreamYard, now I have like a big one, and I think it looks really cool. And then I put the Q&A thing. I put the Q&A thing right there. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Give me a bunch of ones if you think it looks cool. And then I've also set up stereo for my microphone. Let me know if it sounds okay. I want to know. I want your opinion on if you think this is better than StreamYard. So give me a bunch of ones. Number one, if you like the audio. And give me a bunch of twos if you like the new layout, if you think it looks cooler. So let me see here. The problem, Justin Knighton says the problem is those people can't vote because of felonies. Well, some of them can. I mean, a lot of these, what would have been a felony a few years ago is now being prosecuted as a misdemeanor, because we know that these politicians, especially in Los Angeles and San Francisco, need those votes. So they've lowered the penalties for violent crimes, for theft, raising it up to like $900. And of course, now you see all the Walmarts and the liquor stores moving out of the ghetto in the hood because they're tired of getting robbed. And then they're being accused of being racist for shutting down their stores. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. So I'm hoping you guys can help me understand. I grew up, I guess, in a different time where just to go on welfare or food stamps was considered to be really low class. And everybody was taught in my family that it was an absolute last resort, and that you would always work your ass off because the social stigma was so incredible. Everybody had at least one firearm in their house. We slept with our doors unlocked. Everybody knew each other. All my neighbors pretty much were Vietnam veterans, squared away people, obviously suffering from PTSD, but you knew you could rely on them with your life. So it was kind of a different era, I guess, guys, different era. So I just want to, before I start the show in earnest, I wanted to give you guys all a chance to come into the chat. Now I'm going to see, there's another thing that I can do too. I'm still kind of learning this, so just work with me, all right? I'm still kind of learning it. Hey, Tiffany, good seeing you. You think it looks cooler? Right on. Okay, cool. So it looks like so far you guys like this one better. My main concern is the audio. And obviously I don't have the cool face filter anymore. So now I look my real age. So now you guys know, yes, I am only 19 years old. So I know that face filter made me look a lot older. So you guys would think I was more mature. But just give me 1 second here, guys. As you know, I'm trying to defeat nanotechnology by taking nicotine. And I'm not sponsoring these guys, but I take these ons. And so far, they definitely help suppress my appetite. And I'm hoping that we'll defeat the nanotechnology that Bill Gates is trying to infect us with, allegedly. So hopefully we'll, do something about that in the near future. Hopefully RFK Jr. will help us out with all this stuff. But that's another video for another time, and obviously not something I can do on YouTube, because YouTube will ban you for disinformation and misinformation, even if it's scientifically provable. So you definitely don't want to talk about that stuff on YouTube. Already had 1 strike against me for even mentioning it, so I have to be very careful about what I say. Otherwise, you guys will lose me, and I'll have to start all over again. So let me see here. Jody Shiloh, good seeing you, ma'am. And Age Go, good seeing you. I know 19 is old, huh? I mean, not modernly, right? As we know, since this last pandemic and the safe and effective situation that was happening, the teenagers are just dropping dead and getting all these weird spike proteins and strange blood clots. The weirdest thing ever. I wonder what happened. I wonder. I wonder who's the beneficiary. I wonder who's going to make money treating all that. I wonder. Oh. So let's see here. It looks like we're getting filled up here. Billy says, do you support invading Iran to recover the remains of the Nephilim and opening the real tomb of Gilgamesh? Well, you know what, man? That's actually a great question. And since I do answer questions, and it's not really a legal question, but I guess it kind of could be, do we have the legal right to invade Iran to recover the remains of the Nephilim and opening the real tomb of Gilgamesh? We might, because we're all part of the human race, right? We're all part of the human race. I don't believe in the concept that somebody stole someone's land and all that. We're all humans. And at one time, I do believe the continents were mainly connected. And over time, people just settled, and people would fight each other, and they would get kicked out, and fight each other and get kicked out. And I think that this whole concept of we were here first and you're culturally appropriating, that's the woke culture. That's designed to separate us, because divide and conquer is what the globalists want to do, the billionaires, right? I think if we were all just considered to be humans, let me ask you a question. If we were invaded by Martians tomorrow, would you consider yourself to be an African American, a white American, a Chinese American, or a Chinese or a Japanese? Or would you consider yourself to be the human race fighting against a common enemy? I just want to know what you guys have to say about that. I'm curious, because that would be considered a racist, bigot, or homophobic question to ask on any of our modern college campuses. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. They would consider that to be over the top. How dare you not separate people by race and culture? How dare you? So let's get into it. Billy, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. And I agree with you, Josephine, that all war must stop. But I think we all know that that's not going to happen. But by nature, human beings are warring animals. We are designed to protect our loved ones and to protect our children, men and women, as God created us, as our Creator created us, as the universe created us, are designed to war, are designed to protect. And if they perceive that their tribe is being invaded by another, they're going to fight back. And I believe that tribalism is really what it's really all about anyways. It doesn't really have anything to do with race or anything like that. It's just that If you're at home with your family, that's your tribe. And if somebody home invades you, like this Georgia case where the Georgia parents are now suing the homeowner who shot three masked teens during a 4 a.m. break-in, that the owner of that home is going to defend their family at 4 a.m., whatever it takes, right? That's just how it is. Now, what I'm going to do right now is kind of talk to you about that a little bit. So we have this issue of, by the way, good seeing you, Sin City Giggles. I love having you guys on my show. By the way, I really get a kick out of having all these new members and becoming friends with all you guys. I've known Gloria for I think about a year now, Gloria, and you've been super loyal to Team MPE, and I really love you and appreciate all the hard work and the donations and everything that you guys did when I was fighting for Chili DeCastro when he was locked up, trying to clear his name and trying to help people see reason instead of seeing red in their eyes just because of some personal animus they had against him, to try to get people to rally around him the same way I'm trying to get people to rally around Lane Myers, because I think that's super important. By the way, I'm going to ask you guys again, the new people that have come in, do you like the new layout? Do you think this is better than StreamYard? And then also, how is the audio? Because I got a complaint about my audio from the last show. A lot of people said it sounded like an echo chamber, sounded like I was far away. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything right for you guys, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So please let me know. Give me a bunch of ones if you like the audio, and give me a bunch of twos if you like the new layout. So let's see here. So I got Gloria ads, Sin City Giggles. Hey, Tiffany, right on. Okay, cool. So Tiffany likes it. So Tiffany, guess what? I can't wait till tomorrow. Tiffany, I can't wait till tomorrow. Are you going to ask me why? I'm waiting for you to ask me why. I can't wait till tomorrow. I'm waiting. Somebody's got to ask me why. Come on, work with me. This is an interactive show here. I'm waiting. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I can't wait till tomorrow. Why do you think that is? Because I keep getting better looking every day. What do you think? Come on. Hey. Now, a lot of you guys, okay, so let me get into my background before we start the show. So I am a lawyer licensed in California and Texas. And I used to be Rodney Dangerfield's limo driver. I used to have a limousine company. Prior to that, I was in the construction business. My father was a contractor. I was also a licensed contractor. Prior to that, I was a United States Marine, and I dropped out of school for fighting when I moved out of the house when I was 16, dropped out of regular school for fighting, went to an independent study program. And as soon as I turned 18, I was on a bus to MEPS to join the U.S. Marine Corps. I had the staff sergeant from the Marine Corps recruiting station, boom, get me on that bus. So, and then I got injured during MCT back, it was 88 through 89. My series, even though I was designated as an 0311 Rifleman Infantry, I had to go through MCT as well as School of Infantry, which modernly I found out later that the new Marines, if you're a POG, like a non-infantry Marine, you're going to only have to go to MCT. And then if you're a leg like me, you only have to go to SOI. But I had to go through both. And I was injured at MCT and I went through SOI on crutches. So that's my story. And then when I got out, I got back into the construction business. I helped start the LA Fitness Health Club chain. I became the corporate wellness director for Bally's Total Fitness and was a co-owner in several gyms, started a limo company, and I became Rodney Dangerfield's limo driver. So that's why I like to have a little bit of humor on my show, hey. And Rodney hated going to airports. He hated being around people. He and not that he didn't like people, it's just that he was constantly attacked by people wanting his autograph. And he was an old guy, he had all these scars down his chest. He would walk around with an open shirt showing all of his scars because he had open heart surgery. But I thought he was a cool guy. I liked his wife. She was much younger than him. I believe she was Mormon. She was blonde, super attractive lady. And I have so many stories that I could get into with you guys about Rodney Dangerfield. Man, that guy was great. But I just love humor. I love comedy. So hopefully you guys won't be too perturbed by me doing some of this stuff tonight that I'm going to do. because I try to interject my legal teachings with a little bit of laughter. Okay, so hopefully we can all laugh at each other tonight a little bit. So let's see here. Let me see here. Yeah, I agree with you. So Jonathan Gerfine says they need to rear their children right and know what the f they're doing. Well, of course they do, but when public schools, the state, and a certain political party tells certain people in their voter base that they're permanent victims and they can't achieve anything in life unless it's from a government handout, and the public school teachers tell them that, and they're told this constantly in the colleges. They come out of school as professional victims, get jobs as professional baristas at Starbucks, and hating themselves and hating anyone else. And that is the birth of critical race theory, which basically teaches that all white people are demons and evil, and that they're oppressors and everyone else is oppressed. And it's just crazy. It goes against everything that Martin Luther King Jr. taught. When I grew up, I was taught that you don't judge people by their skin color. You judge them by their character. Are you a good person or are you not? And that was all turned on its head, starting with Barack Obama in the woke takeover of the public education system. A bunch of radical Marxists who use what's called critical theory, but they interject it with race. So critical theory was based on wealth discrimination. Well, if you're successful and you work hard and you make a lot of money, that means you're evil. It's Marxism. And that didn't fly with Americans, because every American is, at least when I was growing up, trying to become successful, buy that home, and move up the ladder. And so it was changed in the Marxist-run education system with NEA and a lot of these Obama appointees, and it was now called critical race theory. So now, instead of being discriminated against based on wealth, now it's the color of your skin. So if you're white, that means that you're a racist oppressor. And of course, black people are incapable of being racist, which I think we all know is nonsense. I mean, anybody can be a racist, right? So what we'll do is we'll get into a little bit more about the show. And then Kevin says, oh, I don't even want to answer that question. And then Lay says, I'm woke and not asleep. Okay. Well, I'm awakened by all the crazy things that have happened. And of course, most of you guys know that my wife is a Latina and I've got mixed kids, and I don't really care what your race is. Again, what I care about is the content of your character. And I think that's what really matters. And I think if we could understand that, the world would be a better place. I just wish a certain political party would stop playing the race card and stop trying to turn everybody against each other based on race. I think it's really terrible what they're doing. And so hopefully with my show, I can bring us all together with some laughter and some humor and also some hardcore common sense. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the Georgia parents suing the homeowner who shot and killed their unalived, sorry, YouTube, unalived 3 mass teens. So the parents of these kids who were out at 4 a.m. wearing masks and apparently armed broke into this individual or his family's house in the middle of the night, in the morning, and this guy shot him, and they ended up, I guess, getting unalived. And we're going to watch the video in a minute. But I wanted to turn it around a little bit. So this family had the audacity. It kind of reminds me of this Carmelo guy. He shows up where he's not supposed to with a knife, causing trouble at an event, and stabs this guy, takes him out, and you have him and his so-called community raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for him, somehow blaming the victim. And so I'm just blown away by the whole. It's so dumb, guys. It's ridiculous. So this is another example of that, where you have parents who are refusing to take accountability for the bad acts of their children, trying to break into someone's home. And we see in California and Georgia, the government's trying to do a very similar thing, where the victim doesn't have any rights and the criminal has all the rights. And you see with California, they're trying to restrict how many rounds you can have in your magazine, whether or not you can carry a firearm concealed, whether or not you can have a firearm in your car to defend yourself. Well, they flood the country with illegal aliens, some of them violent criminals who have been released from prisons all across the world, causing trouble and having their way with our wives and children. And so it's kind of a weird, I don't quite understand it. Maybe somebody in the comments can help me understand it. But ultimately, you have criminals now playing the role of the victim. And this would be an example of that, where the family of these teens are literally trying to sue the homeowner, claiming that he shouldn't have defended his property. So let's get into a little bit about what self-defense is in California. So California has no retreat to the wall rule. Some states have a retreat to the wall rule where you have to try and escape the harm before you can start firing or defending yourself with a weapon. Now, California, and I'm not sure about Georgia, but California has a rule that says if you feel physically threatened, you can defend yourself with a firearm or a weapon. But it has to be force meeting equal force. Now, the issue is when someone's breaking into your home wearing a mask and it's dark, well, you don't have the objective capability of knowing whether or not they have a weapon. I would presume that they're armed. If someone's breaking down my door with violent force, I'm going to presume that they're armed, and I'm going to take steps to defend my wife and children. Give me a bunch of ones if that's what you would do as well. I think most people with common sense, if someone's breaking into their home, the person breaking into their home has to presume that their life is no longer of value to the person inside the house. What do you guys think? Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. Give me a bunch of twos if you think like we should be like Canada, where we just let criminals walk all over us. We flood our country with violent jihadists who refuse to respect our culture and refuse to allow us to walk our dogs in public because dogs go against their religion. Or if people come into our country, unlike Canada, people should be forced to take a test and swear allegiance to the republic. I want to know what you think. Give me a bunch of ones if you think people that immigrate to the United States should be forced to take a loyalty oath to our republic. Give me a bunch of twos if you think it's okay just to open up the border and flood the country with people who you have no idea who they are or what their cultural backgrounds are. Let them poop in the street. Let them do whatever the hell they want for whatever reason to prove that you're not a racist. Tell me what you think. Twos for that. Ones if you think that people should be forced to take a loyalty oath to our country, learn about our culture and traditions, and not try to force some foreign culture upon our country. What do you guys think? I just want to know what you all think. So, yeah, Canada's only good for hockey, says JC. A lot of people say that. Hey, what's going on? What's the matter, you? Got my homeboy, what's the matter, you? Just popped in. So Chocolate Cat Shake says, no, we should just let people flood the country. I wonder what political party Chocolate Cat Shake belongs to. I wonder. I'm pretty sure I know who that is. Hey, Bill Bowbirds, yes, absolutely. An oath at the very least. Absolutely. I mean, I swore an oath to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution as a Marine, and I'm still bound by that oath as far as I'm concerned, and that's one of the reasons why I do this show. Hey, what's going on, Big Chevy? Yes. So Chevy asked, what's the matter, you? Help, help. Did you answer that last question? Oh, by the way, what's the matter, you sent me a audio of one of Chevy's latest songs. Chevy, I haven't listened to it yet. I apologize. I have been absolutely swamped today. My wife agreed to take my son to judo class tonight so I could do this show. And so again, this is my second show that I've done using Restream. And I really like Restream so far. And it seems like you guys like the layout better, but this is the first one. Last night I did it in horizontal, in landscape. This one I'm doing in vertical. So hopefully you guys like it. And I'm doing this in vertical because I'm going to make a bunch of shorts out of this show tonight. Not the shorts that you wear, right? But short videos. All right. So this is like the woke lawyer hood reaction, because I had a bunch of you guys reach out to me, Life Under, you know what I'm talking about, guys wanting to find out more about what's going on with crazy stuff in our culture and then applying the law to it. So in this particular case, these Georgia parents literally want, just like the Carmelo thing, right? You know, their son goes and unalives somebody, but somehow it's the victim's fault, right? And the guy's carrying a knife. He's not supposed to have a knife. Anyways, that Carmelo's getting charged as an adult. Unfortunately, he's not going to get the death penalty. But in my opinion, honestly, I think it's better that he gets life because, you know, he's going to pay every single day for what he did. And the problem is all that money that they raised on GoFundMe Well, now he's going to get extorted by these people in prison because they're all going to think that he's rich, and he's going to become someone's boy, for lack of a better word, unless he pays extortion payments. So in his mind, he's probably going to wish that he gets the death penalty if he gets convicted. So, and again, you're always innocent until proven guilty, but I think there's pretty overwhelming facts here that he's guilty of unaliving this kid who was basically saying, "Get out of our area. Why are you coming into our tent? Leave us alone." There's witnesses that have come forth. This kid just shows up. He's obviously not mentally stable, carrying, I guess, a big kitchen knife, and takes the guy out. So it's just weird. But this is another example of parents who are not properly caring for their children. Obviously, they're out in the middle of the night robbing people's homes. And so what does the homeowner get out of it? Well, he defends his family. And what happens? These people sue him. So I'll give you the breakdown. So typically, parents can't be held liable for the crimes or the torts of their kids but they can in a way that they're limited. So in California, I believe it's up to $25,000 that a parent would have to pay. Now, there are times where they could be held liable if they're acting as a vicarious agent of the parents. So if you put your kids up to robbing and thieving and stealing, well, then, yes, the parents could be held 100% liable for the criminal or civil acts of their children. Contributing to the delinquency of a minor comes to mind as a criminal charge. But typically, kids don't rob and thieve and steal if they have good parents. So typically, if you have a mother and father who love you and they're taking good care of you, they're making sure to rear you properly, statistically, the chances go way, way down. In fact, the statistics are about the same for children raised by a father or a two-parent family. Children reared by a single mom statistically have a much higher probability of being thrown in prison. So there is something about having a biological male in the family that does do something with young boys in particular, keeping them out of prison and teaching them wrong from right. And there's actually a study with elephants where they found the same thing. I believe it was a zoo in South Africa. The mother and fathers of these juvenile elephants were unalived by some tribe members down there, and for their ivory, and they put these male juvenile elephants in this wildlife preserve, and they started unaliving the hippos, the rhinos, everything, just wiping everyone out, and nobody could figure out why they were doing that. But then one of the zoologists who had a little bit of a brain said, "You know what? Let's put some adult male elephants in this wildlife preserve with these juveniles." Within a few days, the juvenile elephants were grabbing the tails of the adult males, and they stopped unaliving all of the other animals that are part of that biosphere in that zoo. And the same concept applies with boys. It's just a fact of life. And so for all of you people who think that boys can be girls and girls can be boys, well, I hate to break it to you. You might feel that way in your mind, that people can be that way, but biology, thousands of years of biology does play a role in all this. So in any event, let's see here. Gryphon, yes, Gryphon Arms. Arrgh! I just got motivated right now. Motivated the crap out of me. There's less government. And on a positive note, that's 3 less. That's 3 less on the government. Yeah, that's true. That's 3 less people receiving taxpayer handouts who still hate people that look like me and say that I'm an evil white devil, right? Even though my taxes are paying for this. So this particular case, the parents, of course, don't want to take any responsibility for their ineptness as parents, and they want to sue this homeowner instead. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch our first video, and I'm going to do a breakdown of what's going on. And so let me see. By the way, I really like the new layout, guys. I don't know about you, but I think it looks really cool. So let's check out the first video and see what happened. Let's listen to the neighbors and find out the facts from them. Let me see here. Sergeant Woodchipper. I love that name, Sergeant Woodchipper, by the way. You must hang out on the JD channel. JC, it became a thing. The trans thing really became a thing right around the time Obama became president, and he started flooding our administrative agencies and the National Education Association with people who had this strange cult ideology. And once Sleepy Joe got into power, it just took over. And so the main beneficiaries of this trans ideology are the medical community and big pharma, because obviously gender dysphoria used to be considered a psychological condition. And I guess it still is, because it's covered under the ADA. So you can get free hormones and get your body parts chopped off and whatnot. And so plastic surgeons were the primary beneficiary of this new thing, as well as psychologists and psychiatrists. And the vast majority of these young kids, just like when I was growing up, I thought I was a butterfly, I thought I was a fireman, grow out of this. The problem is when you have woke ideological parents, if they chop off your body parts or they start injecting you with hormones, women develop a man's voice, they start losing their hair, they develop a square jaw because of the testosterone. They can never become men because their bones are different and biologically they're just different. If you talk to a nuclear geneticist, you'll be able to understand that relatively quickly. But in any event, what happened is the medical community, these woke doctors, for lack of a better word, found that, hey, look, we can get taxpayer funding for the surgeries and for the psychological care and hormone treatment. And each one of these kids is worth several $1 million over their lifetime. And a lot of them unalive themselves. Per capita, more of them unalive themselves than the other kids who simply get psychology and get treated for gender dysphoria. And they figure out, actually I am a woman. Actually, I am a dude. And this is a dysphoric thing. They actually call it gender dysphoria for a reason. So that's one of the issues that comes up. And so that's where it came from. It was basically starting with Obamacare. These doctors realized we can make a shitload of money if we can push this ideology. And these public school teachers push it like crazy. And that's why we homeschool our kids. We won't let our kids go anywhere near a public school. And I'm hoping that you guys will wake up to the reality that children are subject to peer pressure, and they have their teachers who are in a position of authority who probably just came from Berkeley or Harvard, ultra woke colleges where they have safe spaces and they've been taught that white males are the enemy, and they're pushing this ideology on your kids. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that as well. And yeah, and by the way, I don't really have an issue if a grown adult wants to pretend like he's a woman and wear dresses or whatnot. But if he tries to share a restroom with my daughter, that's where I'm going to draw the line. I don't have any duty to join you in your delusions. It's not my job. Your job is to be who you are and not force your ideology on me or my children. So that's my personal view. And I'm going to move to an area or a state and be around people who don't support that stuff. It doesn't mean that I don't think that you have a right to exist. It doesn't mean that I have any animus against you. It just means that you need to stop forcing your beliefs on me and my children, because it's unfair. And I will not try to force my 6,000-year-old heritage on you, because that's how it's always been until just recently, right? Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. So let me see here. And then Lay says, stop banning books. You mean child porn that they've been putting in the school libraries? Though those should be banned. There should not be public school kids and kindergartners who have access to this weird crap that the left is trying to force on little children. It's crazy. So, and give me a bunch of ones if you agree. So let's go ahead now and watch the video, and let's kind of see what's going on here with this break-in.
I was scared. My ears was ringing. That first shot had my ears ringing.
Asteria Williams told us she hit her bedroom floor when she heard gunshots just feet from her window overnight.
My room is right here. I'm right here by it.
Rockdale County Sheriff's deputies spent hours Monday collecting evidence on White Oak Court after a man who lives in this home shot and killed 3 masked teenagers he confronted on the front lawn.
He's a nice dude. He's a nice, caring dude. If they would have knocked on the door and asked him for anything, he would have gave it to them. He's a nice dude.
Earlier, while investigators worked the scene,
he didn't have to kill them.
Frustration from this group, who wouldn't give their names, but told my colleague Sophia Choi they're related to one of the teens who died.
It's not how it's supposed to go. I understand one shot to stop the people, the victims or whatever, but aggressively to shoot these little teens, that's an overkill. That's too much to handle.
Neighbor Carlos Watson told us the gunfire woke him up. Then a small army of deputies flooded the cul-de-sac within minutes.
Chaos. I moved here from Chicago, so it kind of put me back into a mindset. I didn't know what was happening initially, and I just wanted to make sure everybody was okay.
And while investigators work to understand exactly what led to the shooting, for Asteria Williams,
It's sad. You shouldn't risk your life for nothing like that because you can't get it back. Now they gone and it's sad.
So now that video sort of says that they were on his front lawn. So if that's the case, if they weren't trying to break into his house, then he would not have the right to defend his home and hearth in that way. Now in Texas, he might if they were stealing something, but if they were on his front lawn, you don't have a right to use lethal force to defend your property unless someone's maybe throwing Molotov cocktails or getting crazy. So this sounds like a gun owner who is not familiarized and not educated in the proper use of firearms and defensive techniques. So one of the things that I would always recommend to people who do want to learn close quarter battle, CQB, who do want to learn about defense, is to take a course, number one, in the laws of your city and state so you understand what you can and can't do. Take a concealed carry course, learn about how to use a firearm properly, and learn when you can and can't use it and under what circumstances it's legal and not. Because this particular man, if he unalived these boys while they were just on his front lawn and they were not a threat to him, if they were not trying to challenge him with a weapon, if they were not attacking him, then he would not have the right to use lethal force against these kids. Now, it doesn't change the fact that these kids are probably hooligans and they probably are in need of proper leadership from their parents, which obviously they wouldn't be trying to break into someone's home if they weren't. But it is what it is. And now we have a situation where the parents are suing this guy. I'm not sure if he was criminally charged or not. I don't know enough about the case, but I'm going to get back into it with you guys. Maybe next week we'll talk more about it. Now, let me see here. Yeah, absolutely. Hate is never the solution, brother. That's from Lake Marion. See, Lake Marion Farm says hate is not the solution. I agree, and I think that critical race theory and this woke religion is one of the most hateful, uninclusive cults there is on the planet. They talk about being inclusive and they talk about being accepting, but they're not accepting and they're not inclusive when it comes to white males, when it comes to Christians, when it comes to people who want to be left alone, when it comes to them not wanting the blue-haired mafia, rainbow flag mafia trying to force their cult ideology on their children. And that's why so many people are fleeing California and they're homeschooling their kids because they don't want to have anything to do with that cult. And that's what it is. It's a cult. It's something that just sprung up overnight, and it's based upon Marxism. It's based upon critical theory, but now it's called critical race theory, and it's an ideology that has sprung up on college campuses, and most public school teachers, as you know, are far radical left, and they get jobs teaching kids. That's just how it is. And I think most people recognize that, and that's why they're homeschooling their children now in overwhelming numbers. So let's get into the next video where we'll learn a little bit about critical race theory, and we'll learn about why I believe when the government funds it, like what started heavily under Sleepy Joe, it is a civil rights violation because it teaches hatred of one race, which is violation of equal protection. So anytime you have a government employee or you have someone subsidized by the government, and by the way, these people that teach these woke classes, DEI courses, they're making sometimes $200,000 to $300,000 a year from the taxpayer to teach this religion of hate. And we're going to go ahead and watch now an example of this religion of hate. Let's check it out, guys. You're going to be blown away.
Ashley Shackelford gave a seminar to some unsuspecting Yakubs.
Listen, that is the most accurate description you could ever tell.
They didn't know what was coming.
All right?
They thought she was about to talk about some like lemonade and how it relates to racism, and she came through him a curveball.
Here's the thing. If you walk into a room and on the board is written, all white people are racist,
underline.
It's just going downhill from that.
Yo, Jared was like, this dude. I'm going to the quad. Tyler, you want to go to the quad, bro?
I think it's a prerequisite, bro.
Oh, shit. Dude.
All white people are racist. So I put this up.
That little laugh right there. She's like, yo, y'all really still sitting here?
She's like, yo, I'm bugging. Like, y'all really here?
She's like, yo, I'm about to flame all of y'all.
Boy.
I put this up because I really want any white person in the room to know up front that this is what we're dealing with, that it's not going to be this coddling of white tears and what that looks like. We're not going to discuss, oh, maybe some of us have worked it out. No, you're always going to be racist, actually. So even when you're on your path to trying to figure out how to be a better human being, because...
Hand the crowd, looking like...
She's drinking that water. She's like,
oh,
she's like, this is going to be a long...
She's like, God.
She's like,
She's like, this water's spicy, but I'm still drinking.
Everyone in there is like figuring out, how can I walk out without her flaming me?
Yeah.
I don't think any of those women in there want to leave. They look like they're all a bunch of hardcore left-wingers. They're all females, of course. Probably a lot of them are Marxist public school teachers or college professors. They're getting indoctrinated so they can go and teach this to your kids. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree.
She's going to sit there and drink mad water and be like, oh, I got to pee so bad. I've been drinking so much water.
Look at the black lady. The black lady's like, yeah, roast them, girl. Yeah.
Get him. Get him.
like that actually, instead of...
Yo, shorty in the front got up and was like...
She got up there and was like, Martha, sit down. She's going to see you. She's like, I'm not staying for this. I'm not racist. Martha, sit down.
Sit down.
Martha, sit down.
Sit down. Stop.
What's wrong with you? She's going to flame you.
Sit.
People of color and black folks being dehumanized, that actually everyone is dehumanized off rip within white supremacy, that y'all are born into a life to not be human, and that's what y'all are taught to do, to be demons. So
yeah, so listen to this. This is a typical Democrat public school teacher, say many, telling white people that we're all demons and we're not humans. And it's reminiscent of something that you would have heard about during the post-Weimar Republic in the Third Reich. And this is what they did in the German public schools. And they said the exact same thing about Jewish people. It's unbelievable to me. And this is being funded under the Biden administration. This woman is being taxed, allegedly, maybe not her, but other critical race theory teachers were being funded by the Biden administration in the tune of $100,000 to $200,000 a year of your money to teach these courses to public school teachers and college professors, saying that all white people are demons and not human beings. So do you think that that's teaching history? Because that's the counter argument you'll get from the so-called, I don't even want to say it, but I'll say it though, many people in what they call the black community is that, oh, that's just teaching history. You don't want to have people learning history. Well, I hate to tell you guys, that's not history. This is an opinion of a radicalized person who is basically full of hate. Let's keep listening.
Yo! Teach these devils!
For real.
Yo!
For real.
Yo!
Go off, Ashley.
Go off. Where's your headgear and the wrestling belt?
Oh.
Yo! Teach these devils!
I'll just show over the phone pods with the wrestling belt.
Yo!
Let's go.
Dorothy in the front is like, yo, nah, she wilded out. She said, demons, nah, come on, son. You gotta let me leave now.
Like, I'm leaving. I'm gonna run up on her. Martha, no.
No, stop.
She's gonna wash you.
Stop. She's gonna wash your shit. That tapioca got you talking spicy.
So in this particular way, white people are all racist. So I just want y'all to know that up front.
And now for the rest of the speech.
Now come to the stage, Jesus and Mero. We're like, hey, y'all. Hey, shuck it, ducky, quack, quack.
Hey.
Y'all. Give it up for Ashley.
Yo, give it up for Ashley, y'all. Shout out to all my demons.
Hey,
Shout out to all my demons.
Yo, word up.
Woo! Man, that was just hilarious.
You are watching the Desus and Mero YouTube channel. So subscribe.
Yeah, make sure to subscribe to Desus and Mero. I really like their channel. These guys are awesome. I just like it when people can laugh and sort of make fun. And, you know, look, we're all different, but we're all humans and we're all God's children, guys. Stop pushing this racist, anti-American, anti-white nonsense and trying to say that it's history. It's not. It's not history. It is an evil, Luciferian philosophy designed to separate us by race, which is stupid because we're all part of the human race. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree. So let's get into the next video. So this has to do with a foot chase And what we're going to see is we're going to see this guy intervene, a non-police officer intervene to help catch this criminal, alleged criminal, because I don't know all the facts of the case. But I got all kinds of questions on this video, got well over 1 million views. And so I have all these people asking me, well, what's the law here? So let's watch it, and then we'll go into what the law is. All right, so let's go. Let me just clean up really quickly, let me just clean up some of this stuff, because I've got so many dag-burn videos on here. So there's one. Look at that. Man, we're just moving. We are grooving and moving, guys. Look at this. Hold on. Let me find it again. Doop. There we go. All right. So that's gone. That's gone. That's gone. All right. So now, look really quickly, let me just look down here. Any questions? Yeah, I agree with that. So what's the matter, you? He's always my voice of reason in the sea of craziness. What's the matter, you says no right-wing or left-wing talking heads are good for anyone. That's for sure, brother. I mean, so as you guys know, I'm a libertarian. I think both political parties are basically, well, they're similar. I think that ultimately the Republicans, at least, they appear to be more pro-Second Amendment, and they do appear to be more for homeschooling and parental rights, but you'll see they're slowly moving towards the radical Marxist left, and the Biden and Obama Democrat Party, they're no longer Democrats. I was a lifelong Democrat, and I left the party. Actually, the Democratic Party left me because I still believe in the flag and patriotism. I don't believe in pledging allegiance to the rainbow flag. I believe in pledging allegiance, if you're going to pledge allegiance to anything, to we the people of America. And the flag symbolizes that. Being a Marine, that flag symbolizes all of my fallen brothers who believed that they were fighting for you and your neighbors, no matter what color you were. So a little bit different. The modern Democrat Party, in my opinion, has just become a far left, anti-American, Marxist, and racist party. And they pretend like they're inclusive, but they're only inclusive to people that are part of their club. So let's go ahead and watch this video, and let's just see what happened. Ooh, that hurt.
Oh my God.
Oh, one more time. Okay, so you can see there, it looks like this guy with the rainbow flag shirt on. I'm thinking this is San Francisco based upon the way the civilian is dressed. Went ahead, and it looks like he pushed the guy forward, and the guy nailed a pole, like a light pole or something. So now, assuming arguendo that this person involved in the foot chase was guilty of a crime or something, I believe that the man who caused the injury to the alleged criminal would have been covered under something similar to a Good Samaritan statute, because he was assisting the police in making an arrest. So that's and we'll watch it one more time. You guys tell me what you think.
Oh my God.
Boom. So now I'm not really quite sure. That's a pretty funny looking picture though, huh? What do you guys think? So in this particular case, they were able to capture the guy. I'm still trying to find out more information about what happened to the alleged criminal. But no, in this case, if it's deemed that the civilian engaged in excessive force and that guy suffered a severe injury, there could be a basis to prosecute or file a civil claim against the civilian who assisted in making the arrest. So hopefully that answers the question for you guys. Doing my best here to provide the best information that I can. At least in California, that's how it would work. Let's see here. Let me see here. So I'm just looking to see. No, do you see what's the matter? You says it's Australia, but no, man, those are American accents. Here, let's listen to their accents one more time, all right? Because I'm not hearing Sheila. I'm not hearing an Australian accent, mate. I'm not hearing anybody talking about throwing prawns on the barbie. That's not a knife. This is a knife. And I'm not hearing any of that. Let's listen.
Oh my God.
Boom. Wow, look at that. That's a good one. Yeah, so No, I'm pretty sure that this looks like San Francisco. The way that guy's dressed, maybe the guy in the black shirt's his boyfriend. I'm not quite sure, but they definitely look like Americans in a seedy part of San Francisco. What do you guys think? So let's take a look here. Now, we the jury gets a kick out of it at least. Thanks for joining me, we the jury. So yeah, that's my impression is probably he would be shielded because he was assisting in making an arrest, and he could claim that he was deputized, or at least it was implied that he was deputized. So he's got defenses, assuming that guy was seriously injured. And of course, if the guy was a felon and he was escaping a violent crime, I think that the civilian would be covered under some kind of a shield. Now, me personally, I would rather not get involved in a police chase because I don't know why the guy's being chased. I don't even know if it's a valid arrest, right? Who knows? Who knows? That could be the thought police trying to arrest someone because he dared speak out against the safe and effective things that were going on, right? The safe and effective, or maybe he spoke out about the Hunter Biden laptop, the true story of the Hunter Biden laptop. And so the police came to try to arrest him because they're thought police, and you're not allowed to say anything about the Bidens or any of that kind of stuff, right? That because we saw that happening, right? So who knows what happened there, but I wouldn't want to get involved in that. Now, the next video we're going to get into has to do with a private facility like a gym, okay? So typically when you join a health club, you're going to sign a waiver, and it's going to be implied that if you're injured using the equipment or something happens to you at the gym, that you assume liability, right? So you're going to be presumed to have understood that you use at your own risk, right? And they call it recreational use immunity. So the same thing if you were in a boxing match and someone was unalived in that boxing match, you couldn't sue the other boxer for battery. However, there's an exception to that rule. If it exceeds the scope of the recreational activity, you could be sued. So if you brought a machete to a boxing match, obviously that's no longer a boxing match. And so if you harm someone with a machete, it's criminal and civil liability there. So in this particular case, this is a case where it appears as though there is a health club that doesn't have proper supervision. Okay. So the owner of the gym basically probably has a key card to let you in to work out. And so the woman who allows this invader into the gym could be deemed to be at fault herself for bringing harm upon herself because it's not her job to let someone into the gym. The other person would have to know the key code or whatever. But we're going to watch it, and I'm going to let you guys tell me what you think, and then I'm going to break it down for you. So let's get into it. Let's get into this next video. Hopefully you guys will like it.
It's 9:54 p.m. A young woman is working out in the gym at her apartment complex. She is all alone. Then a guy knocks on the door.
It was just another dude coming in to work out, so I didn't think of anything out of that.
24-year-old Nashali Alma opens the door for him. Then she goes back to her workout. 3 minutes later, it happens. He approaches and tries to grab her by the waist.
As soon as he was approaching me, I pushed him. I said, "Bro, get away from me." And he kept trying to come towards me and kept reapproaching me. So to the point where I just ran off to the side of it, like there was a gym bench, and I went to call 911 at that moment, and that's where he started trying to grab my phone, and I threatened him, like, "Bro, get away from me, stop trying to touch me." And he started chasing me around the bench.
She's chased to the other side of the gym. A struggle ensues and Nashali is wrestled to the floor.
When it was happening, I actually had no fear. I am a bodybuilder and I'm actually pretty strong. So in my mind, I knew I was stronger than him and I knew I could fight back.
Wow, did he ever mess with the wrong woman? She really is a competitive bodybuilder. Her social media is filled with her amazing feats of strength. Sure enough, he's exhausted. You can see him trying to catch his breath.
At the end of the video, you can see him getting tired. I said, if I keep going, if I keep pushing, I keep fighting, he's gonna stop. He's gonna let go, and he finally did.
The assailant, Xavier Thomas Jones, was arrested the next day. Turns out he lives in the building in Tampa, and Nashali is being hailed for her display of true grit.
As long as you don't give up, you fight back, you show him that you are strong, that you are one, that you're able to fight back and survive this and get out of the situation, I believe it's possible.
Well, I don't know about that. I think she got lucky. So as you guys know, my background is judo and Muay Thai, and I have gone up against skinny, wimpy guys who have better technique than me, and they've kicked the crap out of me. And I'm a pretty strong guy. I can bench over 305 right now for maybe one rep, and I used to push well over 350 for 12 to 13. So I'm a strong guy. And I've had these little dudes just twist me up like a pretzel in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and judo, and these little wiry Muay Thai guys just kick the crap out of me. So I think she got lucky. All right. So being a bodybuilder doesn't mean anything. Yeah, she was strong. She got lucky that the guy's a freaking tard, right? Give me a bunch of ones if you agree that she got lucky the guy is a tard, probably is mentally unstable and doesn't know how to fight. So, because you could see her on the ground, she didn't try to put him into guard. She didn't do knee to belly. She didn't use any of the techniques to try to do a hip escape. She just basically tried to tire the guy out. So let's get away from the self-defense argument and get back into liability. So the apartment complex, I would argue, knew or should have known they had mentally unstable people like this guy occupying the building. And as such, they should have had better security measures in place. Now, the fact that she let the guy in there is a problem. However, if he is a member of the apartment complex, well, he's got the right to use that gym. But if the apartment complex had noticed, knew or should have known that there were dangerous people in that premises, they would have a duty to provide some kind of security, at least if this was in California or Texas. So just so you guys understand, no matter what liability or waiver forms that she signed to use that gym, she certainly didn't consent to being assaulted in that manner. So does anybody have any questions for me so far? Let me see here. Yeah, so yeah, she definitely had confidence, Tiffany, but I don't think she had any skill. Based upon seeing her on the ground, she wasn't showing me any kind of skill other than just strength, trying to keep the guy away. And she ultimately had more stamina than him. So she got lucky that she had more stamina and that he didn't have skill. So I think in this particular case, she got lucky. If he was a stronger man who had some basic fighting techniques down, yeah, that's right. He looked like he was strung out. That's right. So in this case, she got lucky. And I'm not trying to discount her or say that she's no good. What I'm saying is that she basically dodged a bullet, for lack of a better word. But one thing I do always encourage women to do, because physically, unless you're taking Anavar and you're a bodybuilder, you're not going to have anywhere near the physical strength of an average man. And because of that, technique is everything. And like I told you before, even though I'm a pretty powerful guy, I've had smaller guys. I had this one little Korean dude, this black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, constantly tying me up, putting me in pretzels. And I was way stronger than him. But because he had better technique, he was able to constantly beat me and wear me out. So a technique over strength, I would say 99% of the time is going to win. In this case, her strength with basically no technique saved the day for her. But don't count on your strength alone, guys. Learn some basic defensive fighting. I recommend that you take judo or Muay Thai at a minimum. You should learn some striking techniques, but I believe that judo is a more complete martial art because 99% of fights start standing. You end up grabbing onto your opponent and it ends up on the ground. If you know how to throw someone or trip someone, you'll be able to use their inertia against them. And once you drop a big guy on the ground, he's looking at a cracked rib, banging his head against the concrete, and it gives you the opportunity to escape. So don't sit there and try to fight anybody. Get the hell out of the situation like she ultimately did. She wore the guy out and she escaped. But if she had known some basic judo techniques, as soon as he grabbed her, she could have thrown him on the ground. She could have done a foot sweep. And then in that moment where he was dazed and confused, she could have escaped. Now, since he got her on the ground and she was now in he was in the dominant position, in other words, her back was on the ground and he was on top of her, if she knew some basic newaza or ground fighting techniques, she could have put him in a triangle choke, or she could have put him in full guard and wore him out that way, put him in some kind of a choke from the bottom position. But in this case, she was just able to sort of exhaust the guy and then escape. But it's not worth it. I have a daughter, she's been in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for many years. And I believe that every father should teach their daughter how to do basic fighting techniques. So anyways, that's that video. And again, I'm not putting her down or saying that she's no good or any of that kind of stuff. I'm saying she got lucky because she doesn't have any technique. If you watch the video, me being a trained fighter, I'm not seeing it, guys. I'm seeing that she used her strength to exhaust him physically. Don't count on your opponent not knowing some basic fighting techniques. Most guys like that you meet on the street probably grew up in a rough area, and they probably been in fist fights or street fights, and they know how to throw a punch at a minimum. So you've got to be careful. That's all I have to say about that. So again, the liability could potentially lie with the apartment complex, but they would have to have actual or constructive notice that that particular assailant was a problem. So if they knew or should have known that they were renting a unit to a crazy person, and he might even have a criminal record, then they would hold some liability if something worse happened to her. But even then, she was battered and assaulted. Ultimately, the guy would be charged criminally, but she could also sue him. Now, based upon seeing the guy and sort of understanding a little bit about him, I doubt he has any assets. So suing someone like that, you're not going to get anywhere. So the only way you're going to be able to get money is from the apartment complex. But by the way, she has a rockin' body, man. Sometimes I wish I was single. Oh, boy. But anyways, she should arm herself. That's right. And since she's in Florida, there's no reason why she shouldn't be armed. And I agree with you on that, Bill. Million percent. But let's get into the next video. So one of the things that I'm running into a lot is there's a lot of taxpayer fraud. There's a lot of people receiving SNAP and welfare benefits who shouldn't be receiving it. And in certain cultures, they've been brought up by their parents to learn how to scam and work the system. And then people like us who are law-abiding, who work for a living, have to pay for it. And sometimes they get caught. And so it always amazes me when I hear the victim mentality. So I want you guys to hear what this victim mentality person has to say. And this could just be a put on. So look at this as if it's just a skit, because I don't even know if it's true. So I'm not going to disparage this person or defame her. But what I am going to say is, if it's true, that it's an example of a lot of problems in our system, because I believe that all people should be taught to work, and that being on welfare and that receiving government assistance is something that you shouldn't be proud of. If you're capable of working, then you should make every effort to try and work and pay your fair share. Everybody talks about fair share, but paying your fair share means supporting yourself. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. Let's get into the next video.
So y'all remember that time that I got on TikTok telling y'all about the food stamps? Do y'all remember that time I got on here and told y'all about the food stamps? Why the fuck did they turn my food stamps off? And I gotta pay back $35,000. They turned my food stamp off, and I gotta pay back $35,000. Now I'm fucking aggravated because how y'all didn't know I was playing on here? Y'all just running with shit. But them motherfuckers really turned my goddamn food stamps off, and I have to pay them back $35,000. I don't know where the hell I'm gonna get $35,000 from, but I have to pay them back. So y'all, watch what y'all put on the internet, because everything is not for the internet. And I learned that. Now I'm sitting here stuck, hungry as fuck, no food. And I don't got no fucking $35,000, so I don't know where they think I'm about to get that from.
Yeah, well, I would imagine, based on the way she looks, that she probably doesn't need any food. She probably doesn't need any. She could probably go on a fast and probably not starve to death for at least 3 or 4 weeks. What do you guys think? But no, in all seriousness, hold on. In all seriousness, in a situation like that where you have, if it's true what she's saying and it's not a skit, it sounds like what she was doing. And I tell my clients this all the time. Don't post stuff on social media. And certainly in her case, don't brag about defrauding the welfare system. It sounds like she was basically admitting that she was engaged in SNAP benefit or welfare fraud online. based upon this video anyways, and that somehow or another the government found out about it and they stopped giving her food stamps. And so now she's complaining about not getting food stamps because she opened her big mouth on the internet and admitted to engaging in some kind of food stamp or welfare fraud. And now they obviously want her to pay $35,000. Well, do you guys think she's going to be able to pay back the $35,000? I doubt it. But that's just another example of, if somebody just had proper parents to rear them, to teach them right from wrong, that probably wouldn't have happened, assuming that it's true. So let's get into the next video. So this is this dude who goes around to different restaurants and he accuses everybody of misgendering him. And he likes to, from what I've heard from the JD channel, he likes to try to push his shows out to little children and try to bring them into the so-called trans movement. And so he'll go to these different restaurants and complain when people won't call him ma'am and they call him sir. And of course, he does nothing to try to sound like a girl. He talks like a dude. And this is his so-called transition where he spent thousands of dollars trying to look more like a female. So let's take a look at him and you guys tell me what you think. Do you think this guy looks any more like a female before or after his makeover, his surgical makeover? Let's take a look. So this is before. Yikes. Ouch, that hurts. Still looks like a dude to me. Looks like he got in a bad fight. What do you guys think? So does he look any more like a chick? Tell me what you think. I'm confused. So give me a bunch of ones if you think he looks more like a girl after the surgery. Give me a bunch of twos if you think he still looks like a dude. I mean, aside from the makeup and the hair extensions or whatever he's doing. I'm just curious what you guys think. All right, so there's that one. So we're just moving right along. Hey, it's thundering outside now, guys. This might have some hail tonight. So let's take a look at the comments. So far, it looks like it looks like nobody thinks that he looks like a chick. It sounds like you guys all agree that he still looks like a dude. And that's just the way it is. By the way, have you guys seen his videos? They're unbelievable. This dude will show up at a restaurant and he'll start berating the food servers for not calling him ma'am. And then he'll demand free food, basically. At least that's what it seems like to me. And he's making a ton of money. Like he's got like millions of subscribers doing this. And he loves getting kids involved. And that's the other issue I have with the whole drag queen story hour. Like, why do they want to be around our kids? I mean, why can't they just leave us alone? Leave the freaking kids alone. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree. I don't care what he wants to do in his own time, but stay away from my kids. Stop trying to share the men's restroom or the women's restroom with my daughter and with my wife. And for crying out loud, why do you guys want to always compete in female sports and win all the trophies and prizes? Why can't you just form your own trans league or something, right? I mean, you guys are at a physical advantage. What are you thinking? It's just not fair to the girls. I mean, leave the freaking kids alone. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree they should leave our kids alone. I'd like to give me a bunch of twos if you think I'm some kind of a bigot because I want you guys to stay away from my daughter and my son. All right? So let me see here. Yes, his surgeon failed him. So we, the jury, says his surgeon failed him. I would agree. I would agree with that. Absolutely. So far, it looks like the ones have it. So we're going to move on to the next video. And so we're going to show you an example of this new woke religion that's been thrust upon our public schools and our colleges. And this new hatred that really started after the Obama presidency. I mean, in my opinion, you guys can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think that Barack Obama set back race relations in this country by at least 200 years. Him and his wife, I think they did a great disservice to this country. It really makes me sad. But let's get into the really quickly. The reason they want to compete against girls is because they are stronger, because they are males and they will win. They can't compete against males, so they do this. Well, that's what I've heard too, Timothy. I think that's a fair statement. So let's go ahead and get into the next video. Oh, oldest youngin' in Guidepost gave me some 2s, so I guess I must be a bigot because I want these weirdos to stay away from my kids. All right, so let's get into the next video, and let me tell me what you guys think about this. I mean, this is crazy to me.
Here's a list of words to help you decolonize your summer. And like with anything, our vocabulary evolves. It isn't about being woke, it's about elevating your vernacular to fit the times and the paradigm that we're in. So welcome. First, stop saying picnic. Picnic originated from pick a N-word. The word picnic originated in the 1700s, but gained popularity once people enjoyed lynching Black people and spreading a nice charcuterie board along the trees as people were being lynched. Instead of using the word picnic, why don't you use barbecue, outing? You can use outdoor excursion, gathering, rendezvous, what have you. Make it up. Just know that every time you use that word, you are perpetuating the history of lynching. Art. Oftentimes, folk art is ethnic, ambiguous art. And fine art is European, oftentimes generated by Caucasians. So just keep that in mind when you are observing a beautiful piece of artwork, that there is no such thing as folk art. All art is fine art. Final thing, dark and light. In referring to a melanated woman such as myself, I do not accept being called dark. I am melanated. I am richly hued. I am dripping with melanation. That is how you should refer to those with melanation. Do not use dark and light, fair and dark. Is in reference to, obviously, Caucasian skin and automatically presumed good. And dark is presumed bad. You see this in a lot of Disney movies. The villain is often of more melanated hue. Time to move away from this colorism blind spot of referring to Black people as dark and as light. This has a connotation of good and bad. We are melanated. We are hued, richly pigmented people. Dark. There is no such thing as dark humor. There is humor that is more opaque and humor that is more transparent, has levity. This is just an exercise of evolving and maturing your vocabulary. We oftentimes think that just because we grew up saying a word or doing a certain thing, habituating ourselves to certain language, that it is okay. But once we begin to pull the thread of the history, the etymology of the word, we understand that that word does not resonate with who we're becoming. Who are you becoming? Someone who is knowledgeable, someone who is present to what is happening today and locked into...
I got a question for her. And I guarantee you, if I talk to her, what do you guys think? Do you think she would say that I'm a demon and that all white people are racist and that I'm a cracker? Because I have a strange feeling that she would. What do you guys think? All right, so let's move on to the next video. What do you guys think about her? I mean, that's an example of what our public schools and college campuses are turning out. I mean, my opinion is if she spent more time focusing on trying to start a small business, that she would be very successful, because it looks like she's had a lot of time to ponder things. Now, the next video that I want to get into is, oh my gosh, thank you, Robert. Looks like Robert Stubblefield and Ghostface are now members. So welcome aboard to members of the paid Team MPE. So I'm glad now I have the Team MPE army of common sense and patriotism is finally starting to pick up steam on YouTube. Really grateful to have you guys. Let me see here. Definite double standards, Grateful Dabs. That's what I'm trying to point out. Now, the next thing is there's this new movement to push body image. Like, you shouldn't be ashamed of being a disgusting fat body. You should accept the fact that you eat too much sugar and that you're a diabetic and that you look terrible and that you're going to die young, you're going to die of heart disease, and that's perfectly okay. And again, this is something that medical doctors in particular benefit from, and in the pharmaceutical industry. When I was growing up, there was maybe one or two fat people in the entire school, and they were ridiculed and made fun of. And both of them ended up losing weight because they realized that they looked terrible and they wanted to improve themselves physically. Most of being obese has to do with a poor diet, eating too many carbohydrates and sugar. Now, there are some genetic things at play, like your insulin glands having less insulin receptors, but anybody can lose weight just by eating a good diet, lots of water, and just using common sense. And so I want you to watch this and you tell me what you see and how you feel about this girl. And do you think that good parenting could have prevented this? Let's go ahead and check it out.
Cook dinner for 6 kids as a 21-year-old. So I'm making some smothered potatoes, some baked chicken, and some broccoli and cheese. Y'all won't try to say I ain't washed my chicken. I'm about to show y'all. Take that dishwasher liquid and wash that motherfucking chicken. This for y'all who say I don't wash my motherfucking chicken. Now I gotta show y'all better than I can tell y'all. Don't forget, when y'all make this baked chicken, make sure y'all season both sides. And I don't really feel like cutting up peppers and onions, so yeah, chop seasoning for the win. Anyways, what's up, cousins? How y'all day going? If you're new here, my name is Deshawn, and I vlog my everyday life. Welcome to the family. Now, on to these smothered potatoes. Somebody had slid up on my video. It was like, so y'all eat with paper plates and plastic utensils in America every day? No, we don't. This is just more efficient because nobody wants to wash dishes. Excuse my hands, I'm a little ashy. But these smothered potatoes looking real good. This is a question for my cousins. Do y'all like fried chicken better or baked chicken? I love fried chicken down, but it's something about baked chicken. It's just way more easier to cook. I ain't really gotta watch it for real. I can throw it in the oven, put that time on, then I know it's gonna be done. No, I didn't put all that cheese up in that broccoli and cheese because all that's not called for. But this how the food looking. So come back for part 2 if y'all want to see me plate these, please. See you in the next one, cousins. Bye.
Oh yeah, so you can see just massive amounts of potatoes, lots of different creams and stuff like that, and just overwhelming amounts of food. And so this girl, I would guarantee you, she's a diabetic. She's morbidly obese, probably can barely walk. And this is somebody that ultimately, because of Obamacare, that you and I have to pay for with our tax money. And so it seems to me, if people are being forced to pay for their neighbor's health care, that their neighbor should at least show them the common decency and respect of trying to stay physically in shape. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. So, and again, back in the 50s and 60s, they had physical fitness and people in gym class, and it was very rare to see an obese person. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree that we need to return to the day that we teach our citizens how to be in shape. It's kind of important. I mean, they say that about 80% of the people, of the youth, are incapable of being accepted into the military now because they're all obese. High sugar diet, lazy, sitting around playing on their phones. Come on, guys. Come on, parents. Let's go back to making America a situation where we respect our kids and we don't let our phones and candy bars babysit them. What do you guys think, guys? Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. Give me a bunch of twos if you think I'm a racist, bigot, and a homophobe, because I believe people should be healthy. I'd like to know what you guys think. So let's get into the next video. Hopefully you guys are having a good time. You guys liking the show so far? I'm having fun. All right, let's get into the next one. So the next one is an example of public employees. So I've sued Child Protective Services, in particular in California, where they work hand in hand with public school teachers to try to affirm the gender that the teachers made up for their school children. And in California, if the parents refuse to accept the gender that oftentimes the public school teachers have created out of thin air for your child, if the parents don't go along with it, Child Protective Services now has the right to steal your kids from you. They'll say that you're refusing to affirm your child's gender, and therefore you're guilty of hate, and it's a hate crime. And since public school teachers are mandatory reporters, they have the right to take away your kid. And the same thing goes on with this critical race theory and this hateful ideology with government employees. They will now even caretakers that are paid for by the government. This is an example of how it's infused itself into government employees across the world, across the country. Let's take a look at this next one. This is a taxpayer-funded caretaker who is causing harm, looking after someone's child who is being provided by the state. Let's check it out.
Sit up there. And have to do this shit early in the day, good morning. So guess what's about to happen? You're right, I warned you.
Hidden camera. The parents got suspicious, and now there's a hidden camera. Let's take a look.
Drop him. Drop him. Drop your pants. No. I didn't whip you yet, so why are you crying? Come on. You ain't gotta take your shoes off. You ain't gotta take your shoes off, honey. They gonna look with a hat. That hat more sense to you, but you can sit right there. Let's go. Lean across.
And I'm just going to stop playing that because it just makes me so sick. All right, so now we're going to get into the next video. This has to do with someone stealing this guy's catalytic converters. A lot of people know that catalytic converters have platinum in them. So it's something you could sell in the black market, make quite a bit of money. So because California in particular and other sanctuary cities throughout the country don't enforce criminal laws and they're soft on crime, criminals, especially illegal aliens, have seen this as a way to make extra money. And so they're going and stealing people's catalytic converters. And this is an example of a vehicle owner trying to defend his property. And in California, I just want to show you an example of when you wouldn't be allowed to use a firearm. And in this case, it's salt pellets, so it's a non-lethal form of firearm. But let's take a look and see what happens, and then I'll break it down for you.
Let's see it. God. Come on, around 3-minute mark now. There I am. Here he comes to save the day.
So he's proud of himself. And of course, this is all, you can't really see what's
Here comes
happening.
through the mace. At least it was distance. Boom! Right in the face. Oh, it burns. It's burning. It's burning. It's burning. Boom! Right in the ass.
So these are salt pellets, and this guy, so it's non-lethal. And it's all been blotted out, so you really can't see everything. But this would be an example of something that's not legal to do. If someone's trying to steal your catalytic converter and causing harm to your vehicle or whatever, you have to presume that they're armed and dangerous. Yes, that is true. But if you run out there with a firearm, even if it's salt pellets or capsaicin, and you start attacking these people, now you become the initial aggressor and you can be arrested. So be very careful, guys, what you do. Now, in Texas, it's one of the only states, it's a little bit different. In Texas, you do have the right to use lethal force to defend property in certain situations. And so I'm licensed to practice law in California and Texas, and I can definitely tell you, it's distinguishable. But I don't believe this was in Texas. You can't really see what happened because he's got it all blotted out. But I certainly wouldn't be posting this on the internet and bragging about what I did because law enforcement clearly would come after this guy at some point. Now, here's another example. This is another one of my viral videos. This is an example of a nice scholar in a grocery store deciding that she wants to take laundry detergent, it looks like, and take 2 laundry detergent bottles and take one and fill up the other bottle completely full before she leaves the store. And so I had a lot of commenters say that, well, it's the store's fault. Always, right? Blame the man, right? It's the store's fault. It's the manufacturer's fault because them bottles is never full, right? But that's not what you're paying for. On the bottle, it tells you how many ounces are in the bottle. You're paying for what's in the bottle. So because of that, and we'll just watch it really quick and then I'll get into the law. There's no sound on it. But what she's doing once she leaves the store is considered to be larceny, just so you guys know. So what she's doing here, that's considered to be larceny. She's now, while she's in the store, because we cannot prove that she formed the intent to permanently abscond, right? It's not. Now, many people would say, but wait a minute, what if she pays for it? it's still larceny because she's paying for only one bottle, but she's getting what amounts to 2. So it's called theft, and we call that larceny. And so that's definitely a civil crime. I'm sorry, it's a civil tort as well as a criminal event. And so guys, don't do this kind of stuff. This is someone who is either highly uneducated or somebody who just doesn't care. Now, remember that when somebody does this, guess what happens? You pay for it. Every time someone robs a store or BLM causes trillions of dollars in damages and burns down their own cities, you pay for that in the amount of higher food prices, higher taxes. And when you hear people, these ignorant people say, but they have insurance. Well, look, even if they do have insurance, they still have to pay a deductible. So the store has to pay a deductible. Now, another argument would be, but wait a minute, it's $1 billion company. They can afford it. Well, no, but what that does is it causes your prices to go up. And then what do? They bring in smaller and smaller and smaller containers and charge you the same price as the big one. So ultimately, anytime you give someone an unearned wage increase or you steal things from people, it causes prices for the other honest people. It causes their prices to go up. So just to give you an idea of what's been going on out there in the world, crazy, crazy stuff. Now, the next video, this is a wild one. This is a young man who gets a little crazy at what we're going to call a picnic, even though allegedly that's somehow a terrible thing to say, and gets a little crazy. No one was harmed during the filming of this, but this is one of my most popular shorts that I have out there, and I've got thousands of questions of people asking me what's going on here, what's the liability. So it's a young man, so we'll just watch it and you guys will see what happened. But I think it's pretty hilarious.
Excuse me. Another friend. Yes, how you got the yes, how you feel. Yes, I do. Another friend. Yes, how you got the yes, how you feel. Yes, I do.
Put firecrackers. So we put firecrackers in the oven, in the barbecue.
Another friend.
What? Firecrackers?
Yes, I am. Yes, I do.
So what that is so one guy's over there with his little Nerf machine gun, and the little boy takes some firecrackers and he sticks them in the barbecue and sets them off. And these guys think there's some kind of a shooting or something, so they all go bananas. So what is the answer? Well, the answer to the question is, since it's probably their kid, they were supervising him, he caused the problem. So if anything, they would be liable for negligent supervision of the child. But just for kicks and giggles, let's watch it one more time because it's one of the funniest videos I think I've ever seen.
Another friend. Yes, how you got the yes, how you feel. Yes, I do.
Oh man, so give me a bunch of ones if you guys think that is one of the funniest videos you've ever seen in your life. I just get a kick out of it. Let me see here. Let's see here. Oh Lord, he says life under the microscope. So, okay, give me a bunch of ones if you think this is one of the best shows that I've ever done. Give me a bunch of twos if you think it's terrible and you want me to focus on Lane Myers, and that's it. Because I like to break it up. I do get bored covering just constant run-of-the-mill. This is how you file a lawsuit. This is how you deal with a writ. Sometimes I like to have fun and show you everyday common stuff that's out there, show you how multiculturalism and this woke ideology is destroying our country and how I want to bring us all back together as Americans and stop having the government divide us by race and gender and by our dysphoric beliefs, and just try to have some kind of a normality that should bring us all together as one. What do you guys think? All right, so far I'm getting a bunch of ones. You guys like it. Thanks, guys. I'm just having a good time. And again, I do appreciate the memberships and the donations. And I don't have my, here we go. If you guys really want to support my channel, pick up a digital version of my ebook, My Journey to Becoming a Practicing Lawyer. Let's stand by. My Journey to Becoming a Practicing Lawyer with No Law Degree or Undergrad. You could pick up a digital version of this, not the soft cover, but a digital version, so you don't have to pay shipping and handling, which I'll email to you. For $19.99, you go to my description on YouTube, and you can learn about the different states that offer law study programs, so you too can learn how to become a lawyer with no law degree or undergrad, and someday have your own YouTube channel and have fun like me. So let's get into the next video. This is my most popular video that I have. I actually reached out to this family who were falsely imprisoned by this Walmart employee, and I covered this a little bit in one of my other shows that I did. And I'm hoping that she'll call me back. But she's on TikTok, and basically her and her husband were shopping at Walmart. They have 2 kids in the baby cart, and this Walmart employee, I believe he was fired, appears to be suffering from some kind of a mental illness or condition, psychological issue. We know that Walmart does hire greeters, typically who have low IQs sometimes, because they try to help people who are less developed or have a mental retardation. And the problem is when Walmart puts them into a position of authority and they violate the rights of other people, Walmart then becomes liable for that. So let's go ahead and watch this video and you'll see what I mean.
Imprisonment.
You're about to get sued. You're about to get sued.
Example of false imprisonment.
You're about to get sued. You're about to get sued. Look at this guy. Look at him, look at him, look at him.
No.
Okay. I'm getting paid today. Woo!
I just need to see your receipt.
Just need to see your receipt.
Show him.
That's all I need to see.
No,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
we'll show it to you. We'll show it to you, but we'll sue you for putting your hands when my daughters are
I
right
did
here.
not touch your
No. You're gonna lose your job and everything, buddy. You really want to lose your job for Walmart? Show him the receipt. Show him how dumb he is. Look at him. Look at you. You're shaking, and you touched my cart with my daughter in here. Look at you. You're a complete idiot.
We have a very
What the f are you doing?
Can I just have someone up here?
You're a complete idiot.
Did we steal?
No.
So then what?
Because my knowledge.
Okay, so check their receipt.
Okay.
Check everybody else.
You better do that.
How is it?
Everybody in here better get the same. You have the receipt.
Here.
You
Okay.
have the
There are
receipt.
no registers over there. That's why you
There
have
is. They just closed it right now.
Okay.
I'm getting paid today. He has my receipt. What a dumb. Got the receipt.
All right, so let's break this down a little bit. So here's what we have. We have somebody who apparently was using self-checkout. And by the way, I encourage you guys to never use self-checkout. I've had several clients who have been charged with theft for mistakenly not scanning an item or thinking the item had been scanned. And then they leave the store and the police come and arrest them. So not a good deal. It appears as though the store employee is claiming that the registers were already closed and that they absconded without a receipt. And the problem is when he slammed that door shut, he falsely imprisoned those people. He didn't give them a reasonable means of escape, at least arguably. The other thing that he did that was wrong is he snatched away something from the cart, looked like a spoon. So that's a snatching, that's a battery. And then putting his hands on that cart is also considered a battery. Even though it wasn't to the person, it's still a battery. And so the way that this works.
To have fun protecting $1 million corporation.
So the way that this works is that under the theory of vicarious liability, the Walmart becomes liable for the actions of their servant. And that's what happened here, I would imagine, if they sued Walmart. So because obviously this guy, and I believe he did get fired, probably doesn't have money to pay for this, for a lawsuit. So Walmart would be obligated to pay for it because they could have been sued under several theories: negligent hiring, negligent supervision, and then the battery and these other things would go against the employee. Now, the only way that the employee would be, that Walmart would be exonerated in a case like this, well, a couple of ways. One, if it was a membership organization like a Costco, there could be a contract that allows people to be detained for purposes of checking their receipt. Okay. In some states, you don't need to have that, but I believe that this was Florida, and I do believe that there was no rule requiring someone to show their receipt. The other issue is, even if there was a rule that allowed the receipt to be shown, as soon as he touched their property and snatched away that spoon, he committed a battery. So that is a civil and criminal offense. So it doesn't put him out of the woods. So if you guys have a business if you guys have a liquor store, keep that in mind. Be very, very careful about what you do, because you could be thinking that you're within the bounds of the law, and instead you end up with a lawsuit, or you end up getting the golden handcuffs and getting carted off to jail. So just remember that. So now, what's the matter? You says that Walmart has ruined this country. Let me see here. When you pay, you then own it and the receipt. So Josh says, when you pay, you own it and the receipt too. They have no right to see or look at your belongings unless you signed up. You know what, Josh? I would say that is a very fair statement. Guys, give me a bunch of ones for Josh. It sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Now, Timothy Turner, if you haven't already left yet, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for being part of Team MPE tonight. I really appreciate it. And thank my wife, too, for letting me stay home to do some YouTube videos, because normally I would be at judo right now with my son. We're getting him ready for a judo tournament. So let me just see here if I've got anything else that I can share with you. All right, so we did the Walmart one. Oh, and we got, this one's a doozy. All right, so this will be the last video for the night. And let's look at all the different potential crimes and civil liability here for these fine, upstanding scholars who are shopping, it looks like, at a Dollar Tree in South Carolina on Mother's Day of all times.
Suing for what?
Oh my God.
What do y'all think?
Who can sue and for what?
All right, so who can sue and for what? Let's talk about it. So it looks like there's some kind of an altercation at the Dollar Tree. So obviously the owner of the store can sue the driver of the vehicle for causing damage and trespass to the property, okay? Now, the person who was on the hood of the car doesn't look like they were injured, okay? So nobody was harmed or injured during the filming of this video. However, the fact that the car made contact with that person, and apparently the person is of superhuman strength, it doesn't change the fact that contact was made. So that's called a battery. So the person driving the car could be sued for civil and criminal battery for driving into that patron, that superhuman patron. And I'm not really sure exactly what happened. It's sad that it happened on a Mother's Day. And it looks like they just were upset about something and decided to get violent. And that seems to happen a lot at Dollar Trees and hometown buffets. I have no idea why. Maybe somebody can help me understand why, for some reason, at Dollar Trees, hometown buffets, people seem to get violent, as well as lately on cruise ships too. I've noticed that a lot of people tend to get really violent and act out and do stuff that when I grew up, we would never consider doing. I have no idea why this could be happening. I'm hoping somebody can share that with me in the comments. It just seems like a new phenomenon of late, and I'm not totally sure what's going on. Somebody help me understand it. But in any event, I do appreciate it. Hey, good to see you, Wanda Mise. So, and good to see you. Lynn Davidson says, only in Carolina where I live. Oh my gosh, I feel for you that you have to live there, Lynn Davidson. But hey, maybe you can move. You know, I know there's got to be other places where it's not so crazy. I certainly wouldn't ever put myself in a position like that. My goodness. Now, Steve says it's the culture. Oh, that's right, Debbie. Absolutely. I've got some Waffle House videos that are going to blow your mind. It seems like Waffle House is like the modern version of the Ultimate Fighting Championships for a lot of these poorer areas. And I want to share a lot of these videos with you. The problem is that YouTube will basically like demonetize them and take them down because it shows violence. So I literally have to spend like, you know, if it's a half-hour video, about 29 minutes will have to be edited out because it's like from the moment they walk into the Waffle House, people are throwing blows and trying to steal stuff, trying to steal tips off of tables, getting wild. So there's all these different violations I could be found liable for with YouTube. So But there are a bunch of them on Twitter you can watch, and the Waffle House videos are like out of this world, guys. Unbelievable. So, Wanda Mise said they had 12 state employees against her alone. My gosh. You're right. So Debbie says that it has to do with morality being gone from society. And I would say that, to me, it does seem that way. It doesn't seem like the schools, and especially the colleges, are teaching love for their fellow man. They hide behind these statements of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which really means if you don't believe what I believe in, you're a bigot, racist, and a homophobe, and that they think that gives them the authority to attack you and to cancel you, to try to get you fired from your job. I mean, it's unbelievable, the projection that they use to hurt people. But anyways, that makes sense. And then, of course, Lynn Davison says YouTube doesn't respect the First Amendment. Well, that's because they don't have to. They're a private company, and they don't. And they're a woke company as well. And that's why I think that TikTok took away a lot of their business, because TikTok does give you a little bit more leeway on some things, but both of them are pretty woke, I would have to say. And so if you want to speak the truth, that you're going to get canceled. That's just the way it is. Now, I heard Patreon's a little bit better. I am going to try to get something going on Patreon as well. Yeah, Sam says, sounds like Democrats in action. I'm going to try to be less political. I'll just say wokesters or the woke mob, because I got criticized for being too political, because I am a recovering Democrat, and I'm still upset that the Democrat Party became Marxist and anti-American, but that's another conversation for another day. So it seems so. Richard Parnell says the truth is all that matters. That's true. And then A King, thank you for joining me. WP, thanks for joining me, brother. Steve, since the George Floyd incident, there seems to be a lot of entitlement. Let me see what else. What's some of the other comments? Life Under says, I had a scheduled court appearance, rescheduled to get an edge next time. Okay. Snow Rule says, did you know Waffle House is connected to the Manhattan Project? I didn't know that. That's really interesting. I'll have to learn more about that. Debbie, thank you for joining me. She says that morality's gone from society. Raw Power Pro says, it's sad the only videos you want to post are of blacks. Somebody help understand it. Well, that's not true, Raw Power. In fact, I would say more than half the videos that I posted tonight were of people that aren't, I guess, melanated. I guess that's the word I'm supposed to use. It's just a bunch of people doing stupid stuff. So I don't know what you're talking about. It sounds like you probably are a little bit hypersensitive, and you need to get over that, buddy. Now, JC, thank you for joining me. Wanda A. King, I love it. Thanks for joining me tonight. And Steve, thank you for joining me. And if you guys have videos of lighter skinned people doing stupid stuff that you want me to cover, I've had a hard time finding videos like that, but if you've got some, shoot them over to me. I'll cover any of them. But I do my best to just cover things where people act like idiots and entitled and stupid and act like professional victims. And I like to post stuff like that. So I'll post any of them. I have no biases towards genetic makeup. It's all about just stupidity and low IQ, stupid stuff. And I'll post that for you. And then I'll do legal breakdowns of it for you. All right. So anyways, Robert Stubblefield, thank you for joining me. Edward Garcia, he says, I never stopped to show the receipt. And then Lynn Davidson again, what's the matter, you? Hey, thanks for joining me tonight. So guys, I'm going to bone out. We've been going for about an hour and 43 minutes. Again, thank you for joining me tonight. And I hope that you enjoyed the new format in vertical. I'm going to try to make a bunch of shorts out of this. And hopefully we'll have a bunch of really cool stuff for you to watch next week on YouTube in my shorts feed. And then again, anybody who has anything they want me to cover, or if they have questions, that's what it's all about. I want to answer your questions, but also have fun, because it's not easy going live all the time and doing this. So anything you can do to keep it interesting for me, I'll make it more interesting for you. With that being said, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. Semper Fi, do or die. Do or die, do or die. I'm trying to end the stream and I'm not able to do it. It says press control. I'm trying to end the freaking